The CT2 machine, basically, is a coolant transfer system. The basic purpose of the machine is to flush the old antifreeze out of the engine while replacing it with new antifreeze. The machine is 75 to 85% efficient, depending on the vehicle that you're working with. The machine is very simple to use. It utilizes a 12-volt pump. 12-volt pump basically runs right off the vehicle's battery. We've got an adapter. The adapter we hook up to the upper radiator hose. Basically what we do is we take the upper radiator hose and we put one side of the radiator hose on this side, put the other side to the radiator, use the clamps on the vehicle, basically put the adapter right on the vehicle. After we get the vehicle hooked up to, or the adapter hooked up to the vehicle, basically what we do, we got a new and a used fluid hose, Basically we'll hook it up to our adapter. What we want to do is we want to put our new fluid hose pumping towards the back side of the thermostat of the vehicle. The purpose of doing that is basically to, as we turn the machine on, as we start pumping towards the back side of that thermostat, we're going to open that thermostat, causing the fluid, the antifreeze, to go through the engine, basically pushing the old fluid back to our machine. The goal we're trying to achieve by opening the thermostat backwards is we can do the flush without the vehicle actually running. That way we can do a flush on a cold engine. That keeps us from having problems with burning ourselves on hot radiator caps, opening the cooling system before it's had a chance to cool down. We've all seen it where it erupts and blows hot coolant all over the place. So that's the main goal there. It's a fairly simple machine. It's designed to be a one-person operation. It's fast and it's clean. There's a couple things I'd like to go over real fast with the machine that's a common issue with it. One of the things, as you can see right on the front of the machine, it says do not run pump dry. The machine will fill and drain itself. One of the problems we run into is when a tech or a person drains it, what will happen is he'll walk away from the machine while it's draining. Well, when it runs out of old fluid that it's draining, it'll sit there and run dry. The pump in there has a rubber impeller. If it runs dry for 5 to 6 minutes, that rubber impeller gets so hot that the rubber impeller basically disintegrates. Then the machine's it's useless after that. So that's one thing we want to definitely illustrate is do not run the pump dry. Another thing, the machine does have a pressure regulator switch in there. It's regulated in between 28 and 32 pounds pressure. Then what happens is when we get hooked up to the vehicle through our adapter, we turn the machine on, and what happens if we got a problem where we're not getting the flow through the vehicle like we're wanting, what will happen is the pump will start clicking on and off. Well, most people at that point, they think that there's something wrong with the machine. There's not actually anything wrong with the machine. The machine's actually designed to click on and off like that. One of the reasons we do that is if the machine sits there and just deadheads, it's not doing anything, we're not accomplishing the service, nothing's happening, right? We're not accomplishing the service that we want. Now, if the machine starts clicking on and off, that tells the tech, hey, there's something wrong here. Also, the machine's sitting there clicking on and off, it keeps the pump from deadheading. One of the problems is if the pump's sitting there deadheading, what it does is just overheats and just burns itself up. So instead of just sitting there, one, not accomplishing the service, and two, destroying our pump, we sit there and let it click on and off to let the technician know there's something wrong. Usual problems there is one, we've got the hoses hooked up backwards. Earlier we talked about putting the new fluid hose going towards the back side of the thermostat. The reason we want to go through the back side of the thermostat, that way we'll open it up. If we try to go the other way on the thermostat, it'll just push the thermostat closed and it won't open up, and it's going to get into a deadhead situation, start clicking on and off. That's the number one reason why we'd get into a deadhead situation. Another reason is pretty simple. We just don't get one of our quick connects on all the way. And it's just sitting there, just deadheading against itself. So that's pretty common. One of the things we try to illustrate or do with all of our machines, especially the CT2, is make it to where it'd be a one-person operation. We want it to be We want it to be fast, we want it to be clean, and we want it to be simple. The CT2 basically has one ball valve on it. Basically, the ball valve just turns to our new fluid or our used fluid side. Then we got one switch. The switch basically turns the pump going one direction or going the other direction, depending on where we're at in the service, what we're wanting to get done. To start the CT2 service, the first thing what we need to do is the machine's a 12 volt powered by 12 volts. We've got to hook it up to a 12 volt power source. The machine has power leads coming out of the back of it. Most people just hook it up to the vehicle that they're doing the service on. Next thing what we want to do is we want to evacuate all the old fluid out of the overflow tank of the vehicle. I'm going to locate where the overflow tank is. Take our suction wand. We're going to identify our pump hose versus our return hose. They're labeled on the side of the machine. The pump hose is also identified by a piece of black shrink wrap. The pump hose is a hose we're going to use to extract all the old fluid out of the overflow tank. Since it's going to be used fluid, it's coming out of the overflow tank, we want to switch our machine to used fluid. I'm going to stick our suction wand into the overflow tank. We want to turn our switch to remove from vehicle. We want to remove all the fluid that we can get out of there. Back and turn our machine off. Next thing what we want to do is we want to remove enough antifreeze out of the radiator so that we can hook up our cross flow adapter to the upper radiator hose without making a mess. So the first thing we need to do, remove our radiator cap. Once again, take our suction wand, put it down in the radiator. Back to our machine and remove from vehicle. When I'm satisfied that I've removed enough antifreeze, turn the machine back off. I'm going to remove the upper radiator hose. Oh, man. Get my cross flow, my upper radiator hose cross flow adapter out of the machine. There are six different size adapters that comes with the machine. That'll fit most radiator hoses on most vehicles. We've established which one we need for this vehicle. Need to get us a clamp on there. Need to tighten our clamp. Put the other end on our radiator hose. Once again, tighten our clamp. And we've got our upper radiator hose cross flow adapter hooked to the vehicle. What we want to do this time, we want to make sure that our ball valve is open, because what we're going to do, we're going to put our flush into the radiator, start the vehicle, and allow the flush to do its job. I'm going to remove our suction wand. We're going to add our flush.